Shalom, Yahawah, Shalom. All praises to the Most High, Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi. Getting right into the video. As y'all can see, you already know what these politicians have been planning and have been moving. For those of y'all who aren't aware, essentially, Trump authorized a U.S. strike of Venezuela in regards to capturing the president, Nicolas Maduro. Now, for those of y'all brothers who might have seen my post, I made this, I want to say a few weeks ago, because there have been a lot of things going on with Venezuela. There's been a lot of talk. For those of y'all who don't know, Trump had been authorizing coordinated strikes against boats, vessels, and things of that sort because of alleged drug trafficking. And he basically started with a narrative that Venezuela was allowing, drug cartels and different narcotics to come into America. And that was the reason for him wanting to bomb specific boats. I never did a video on it, but I had been keeping up with it. And I made this post a few weeks ago about how Trump, he announced a blockade of oil tankers to Venezuela. And I'm just doing this video because there's one video I watched by Chronicles of Judah a few years back, and he would say that all wars are for natural resources. The war in Iraq, the war in Afghanistan, the war in Vietnam, the war in Korea, the Iran war. All of these specific wars that we see when we turn on our news and you hear people saying we need to free the people, we need to make sure we're protecting U.S. citizens in this land, we need to protect Israel. The vast majority of these wars are literally for natural resources, strategic positioning, political positioning, because when we turn on our TV, when we open up a book, they talk about how America is spreading democracy and the freedom of people, when democracy is just an illusion for Western imperialism, American imperialism. And it's been the same shit going on for hundreds and hundreds of years, which is why in this post I said the same play being run for 2 centuries. So, this is something that brothers have known about. And when you take that mask off and you really look at the truth about America, the truth about Trump, the truth about Biden, Obama, all these other wicked ass presidents, you understand that they're just doing the bidding of U.S. interests, and on a higher level, the interests of the international bankers. So I wanted to go over this quick press release so y'all can understand what Trump is actually doing. And there's other videos going out in regards to Trump, Venezuela, oil reserves, gold, shit like that. But let's just look at what Trump is talking about, because the only difference from Trump with Biden and Obama, and even Bush to a certain extent, is that he's just a little sloppy with it. He doesn't care to show you the true face of the American empire or the imperialistic motives of America.
Thank you. Let's listen in to President Donald J. Trump at Mar-a-Lago, the Winter White House, about the operation overnight.
Late last night and early today, at my direction, the United States Armed Forces conducted an extraordinary military operation in the capital of Venezuela. Overwhelming American military power, air, land, and sea, was used to launch a spectacular assault. And it was an assault like people have not seen since World War II. It was a force against a heavily fortified military fortress in the heart of Caracas to bring outlaw dictator Nicolas Maduro to justice. This was one of the most stunning, effective, and powerful displays of American military might and competence in American history. And if you think about it, we've done some other good ones, like the attack on Soleimani, the attack on al-Baghdadi, and the obliteration and decimation of the Iran nuclear sites just recently in an operation known as Midnight Hammer.
Yeah, so basically Trump is just going through the whole hullabaloo. We all understand that America intervenes for different foreign policies, different foreign affairs. Y'all know we made the video in regards to Trump and the U.S. bombing Iran's nuclear facilities, right? We also know, there's a long list in my life. We had Afghanistan, we had Syria, we had Libya, we had Iraq. What else? We had the Persian Gulf War, the first war with Iraq. We had Vietnam, we had Korea. So what am I getting at? Essentially, America is just ahead of the beast that rules with a strong, devouring sword. They understand that they have the power, they have the control, they have the might to influence the world in any way possible. And I don't give a fuck about democratic elections. I don't give a fuck about democracy being spread across the world. When you look at the true face of the beast, when you look at the true face of America, they are a military, imperialistic country that runs off of a face of quote unquote democracy. And the way that they essentially, I'm not gonna say justify it, but the way that they brainwash and bring out propaganda to their citizens is with this whole two-party system. Oh, well, we have the Democrats and we have the Republicans, and the Republicans are the ones that go to war, even though Obama was bombing 7 countries simultaneously during his run. Oh, well, we had Biden and we had Lyndon B. Johnson and we had Bill Clinton. They've been doing the same operations for I don't know how long, the last 60 years. And then even before that, they've been doing the exact same thing, because ultimately they're doing the bidding of the international bankers, the people who actually run not only just America, but the vast majority of these world governments through international banks, through sanctions, through political coalitions, from the United Nations to NATO to, I don't even know, there's so many different names. But that's the point of this video, is that the only difference between Biden, Trump, Clinton, George Bush the first, Ronald Reagan, is that Trump is just showing you like, yeah, this is what we're really about, and I don't give a fuck how you feel about it. I'm gonna do it anyway.
All perfectly executed and done. No nation in the world could achieve what America achieved yesterday, or frankly, in just a short period of time. All Venezuelan military capacities were rendered powerless as the men and women of our military, working with U.S. law enforcement, successfully captured Maduro in the dead of night. It was dark. The lights of Caracas were largely turned off due to a certain expertise that we have. It was dark and it was deadly. But captured along with his wife, Celia Flores, both of whom now face American justice. Maduro and Flores have been indicted in the Southern District of New York. It's Jay Clayton, for their campaign of deadly narco-terrorism against the United States and its citizens. I want to thank the men and women of our military who achieved such an extraordinary success overnight with breathtaking speed, power, precision, and competence.
All right, let's stop right there. He said he's indicting Maduro and his wife, I forgot her name, for narco and drug trafficking charges. Let's go back and re-listen to it.
Maduro and Flores have been indicted in the Southern District of New York. It's Jay Clayton, for their campaign of deadly narco-terrorism against the United States.
All right, so he said for their deadly campaign of narco-terrorism against the United States. When you look at a lot of the countries in the Western Hemisphere, that being Central America, South America, and North America, Mexico has a huge drug operation with narcos, cartels. I mean, they make songs about it. Not only them, but I know there's many other countries. I think, and y'all brothers can quote me if I'm wrong, but countries like El Salvador, countries like Honduras, countries like Costa Rica. And again, y'all brothers can correct me if I'm wrong on the specifics, but there are a lot of different countries in Central America who have a lot of these ties to drug narcotics. Even in America's own backyard, there's what, fentanyl that's being produced where? In China, being shipped where? To Mexico, and being brought into the United States. But Trump isn't waging war against the president of Mexico. Trump isn't waging war against Xi Jinping or whatever his name is in China. The reason why he's doing it with Venezuela is because, one, they don't have the backing and the sanctions of being within the United Nations. They're not a part of the global coalition to do America's bidding. And the real reason is because Venezuela has ties with China, with Brazil. I don't know specifically if they have ties with Russia, but they might have ties with Iran, which are all a part of the nations of BRICS, the coalition of nations called BRICS. And also, let's just be real, Venezuela has the largest reserves of oil, and Trump just wants his hands on it. So whenever you pull out the shroud of democracy and drug trafficking and all that, we all understand this was a war for natural resources, bro. That's just the truth of it.
And its citizens.
Now I want to skip through. We're not gonna watch this whole thing. Let's get to this main point right here.
We're going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition. So
basically what he's saying is, now that we took the leader out, we're gonna mold another leader who's gonna be aligned with our specific views, who's going to give us access to their oil reserves, who's gonna help us dig out any sort of raw materials, whether it be gold, whether it be silver, and who's not gonna play ball with China, who's not gonna play ball with Brazil, who's not gonna play ball with Russia, because Venezuela is in our backyard. And if you think that you're gonna come in and do what you want without intervention of the United States, you're out of your damn mind. That's basically what he's doing. And this ain't nothing that has been going on for centuries.
we don't want to be involved with having somebody else get in, and we have the same situation that we had for the last long period of years.
Basically, we don't want a leader who's not aligned with our interests as a nation and with the international bankers' interests.
So we are going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition.
Just like what they did in Afghanistan, just like they did in Iraq, just like what they did in Syria. And now, y'all brothers, we're going to see how the country is going to respond and whether or not things are going to go how America wants it. Because y'all have to understand, the Most High is recording all this. He has his angels looking and seeing what America's doing. And we all understand the prophecy is that America will fail. The same things that allowed America to come into power, moving with the sword, moving with deception, moving with lies and force and things like that, the Most High is going to turn that head against America. So it's going to be very interesting to see how things are actually going to play out with this whole thing with not only just Venezuela, but you got the things with Nigeria, and then of course you have the big conflict with Iran.
And it has to be judicious, because that's what we're all about. We want peace, liberty, and justice for the great people of Venezuela.
Basically, he's saying we want Venezuela to be a vassal state to America, and we're going to justify it with peace, freedom, and democracy, because that's what we've been programming the world and our nation for centuries. And essentially, this is the way to justify it. So that way we can call you a hypocrite if you don't 100% back the operations that we have set up for this country.
And that includes many from Venezuela that are now living in the United States and want to go back to their country. It's their homeland. We can't take a chance that somebody else takes over Venezuela that doesn't have the good of the Venezuelan people in mind. Had decades of that.
Yeah, so basically he's saying we basically just we did a coup on the government, and now it's damn near like a Puerto Rico, but we're not gonna call it Puerto Rico, but essentially we're gonna make sure we get the right person in there to run the show.
We're not going to let that happen. We're there now, and what people don't understand, but they understand as I say this, we're there now, but we're going to stay until such time as the proper transition can take place. So we're going to stay until such time as we're going to run it, essentially, until such time as a proper transition can take place.
Hey, everyone.
Dang, and there was another video, I think this is on Fox News, but I think it was on CNN, where basically he said, we're going to run the like basically he was about to say company, and he's like, we're going to run the country.
This is proper. We're there now. We're ready to go again if we have to. We're going to run the country right. It's going to run very...
So, brothers, y'all got to understand, like, everything that we see on this world, every time they want you to get your emotions involved and say that, oh, you know, we're fighting for freedom, we're fighting for liberty, it's all bullshit. They're fighting for natural resources. They're fighting for territory. They're fighting for gold. They're fighting for the things that are going to keep their system going and keep this empire running. Because everything with America is ramping up, because we all understand what's going to happen with China. And quiet is kept behind the scenes. The whole thing with Venezuela could be a ploy to get China to start to go after Taiwan, which has been ramping up. Again, y'all brothers all understand the situation with Taiwan, because it might justify a third world war. It is what it is, brothers. So these war drums ain't gonna go away. This news ain't gonna go away. This political shifting ain't going away. And essentially, Trump is just rerunning the same play of the Monroe Doctrine and essentially trying to protect U.S. and American interests and, again, Western power and international banking powers' interests until this society collapses, bro. There's going to be a lot more moves like this happening as America gets more and more desperate. All right, brothers. So I wanted to get this scripture in Revelation chapter 18 so we can understand the role that Babylon, the great mystery Babylon, essentially plays. Because this is speaking about the judgment that's going to come upon Babylon, the land of many waters, the land of many inhabitants from sea to sea. Essentially another way of describing America in the end times. And it says, and after these things, I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened in his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and has become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. So essentially, we understand that Babylon is promoting a lot of wicked spirits from LGBT, feminism, greed, and covetousness all throughout the entire globe, right? But also you have to understand that when nations follow after the power of Babylon, they become rich. Because we understand America, really this land has been built on lying, conquering, deceiving. Because we understand that Esau, he has the gift of the sword. He rules by the sword. America has ruled by the sword. England has ruled by the sword. Most of these countries have ruled by the sword. And once they rule by the sword, they place an economic system that obviously aligns with their own benefit. That's just the nature of empires. That's the nature of geopolitics and things like that. And that's been going on throughout history. The main thing with this country is that they do it through deception and lies. They sit here and tell you that your cup is water when they really put poison within the cup, and unless you drink it, they're gonna kill you. That's essentially how they promote democracy. That's how they promote equality and all these other things, when in actuality, they're just serving their own purpose. In the countries that follow and play ball, their merchants, the top ranking elites, they get a cut of it while sacrificing the people below. Again, I don't know anything about Maduro. He probably was a wicked man. I don't know. I see brothers talking about, oh, he's an Israelite. Like, y'all are tripping with that whole 12 tribes charts, and anybody from these countries you automatically assume are Israelites. Either way, even if you say the brother's an Israelite, he was a wicked man. So you can't justify somebody being wicked. My point in this video is to be able to show y'all that essentially they're playing their role, and the Most High is going to reward them. Let's keep going. It says, verse 4 says, and I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that you be not partakers of her sins, and that you receive not of her plagues. For her sins have reached unto heaven, and the Most High has remembered her iniquity. So every time America bombs and takes over a country, every time America lies to the world and says that they're going for liberation, when in actuality, they're just protecting their empire and their imperialism, essentially, the Most High is recording it. And he's going to remember all the iniquities, all the different things that they've done throughout this time and throughout the world, and he's going to reward it back to them. It says, reward her even as she rewarded you. So in the same way America stripped countries of its resources, caused instability, sacked down leaders, the Most High is going to do the exact same thing in due time. It says, in the cup which she has filled to her double, how much she has glorified herself and lived deliciously. Just like when you see Trump and many of these pro-American politicians, they say, oh, this is the greatest thing. No other country could have did it. No other weapon could have brought down these other nations. Essentially, that's glorifying himself. American pride, Western pride, right? It says, so much torment and sorrow given her. For she saith in her heart, I sit a queen and am no widow and shall see no sorrow. Meaning, she sits on high. She doesn't think she'll ever see any type of death, any type of bad times, any type of misery. And she continues to do what she does. It's the same thing with America. It says, therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine. And she shall be utterly burned with fire. For strong is the Most High Yahawah who judgeth her. And that's why you brothers keep seeing things about different things plaguing the land, from famine. You keep hearing things about many different sicknesses and things coming up because the Most High is going to cause plagues. You also understand all these Western countries, right, with liberalism and things like that. They're not having babies. There's a lot of confusion within the state. There's a lot of confusion within the country. There's a lot of division within the country. That's essentially the Most High weakening these countries from the inside and placing spiritual curses upon it to destroy, to set it up, to line it up for judgment in the same way that he did with Egypt all the way back during the time of Moses. So essentially, I want to keep going and I want to go down because you have to be able to expose the wickedness of these nations so that way brothers can understand. And most importantly, like it says in verse 4, it says to come out of her, to come out of the affairs of this country, to come out of the emotion of this country and wanting to be a part of this country, because this country has no sort of mercy that the Most High is going to give it whatsoever. So I'm going to go right here to verse 23. It says, and the light of a candle shall shine no more at all in thee, and the voice of the bridegroom and of the bride shall be heard no more at all in thee. For thy merchants were the great men of the earth, for by thy sorceries were all nations deceived. So essentially, the Most High is going to put out the light of this land, and there's going to be no glory. There's going to be no basking in this country. And essentially, all the sorceries that Babylon has placed on the people through the programming, through the different ideologies, through the different ways that many countries follows, those sorceries will be exposed. And all the blood of the Israelites, all the blood of the righteous men and the people who stood against this nation, and the blood that this country was built upon, the Most High will reveal it, and there's going to be no way to come out of it. And I want to get this in Daniel chapter 7 and 23, because brothers have to understand the way that this beast plays. It's meant to devour, it's meant to tread down, it's meant to break other nations in pieces. Verse 23, it says, thus he said, the fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom upon earth, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, and shall tread it down and break it in pieces. We understand this was speaking about the Roman Empire in the book of Daniel. But when you read Revelation, I think it's chapter 13, it speaks about how the beast's deadly wound was healed and it had the same power and authority of the beast before it. It's also speaking of how America runs society and runs the whole earth. It's meant to devour, meaning it's meant to destroy. It's meant to break down. It's meant to break in pieces other nations. And if you're not in the same ruler, if you're not under the same leadership of it, that's going to be a part of you. And that's what happened with Venezuela. That's what's happening with Iran. And again, brothers, this is going to be the big one. But essentially, China and the U.S., they're going to clash. But I'll read verse 25. It says, and he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws. And that's happening in the Roman Empire. When they were going against Yahawashi, they're going against the disciples. They were persecuting the disciples and anybody who spoke against that country, against that empire. And it says, and think to change times and laws. And we understand not only did the Roman Empire try to change the timing, the calendars, laws, how you tell a day. It's the same thing with America, daylight saving time, the Greco-Roman calendar, and how they set certain quote-unquote pagan holidays to be the actual days that's set compared to what the Most High already established, right? And it says, and they shall be given into his hand until a time and the times and the dividing of times. So essentially, not only will the Roman Empire reincarnated, aka America, Babylon the Great, have a period of time where they're going to wear out the saints and persecute them, but it's also going to be given into them for a specific time until the Most High will allow it to be destroyed. And that's the hard part. when you see shit like this, when you see people in the comments, when you see people screaming Monroe Doctrine, you scream people saying, oh, America had to go in there and do what's necessary because they're a powerful nation. And you brothers and sisters understand the truth about this country, and you just sitting back and you're powerless and you're wondering why you keep getting persecuted, why you keep living in this state, why you keep having different nations where our forefathers are where you keep seeing different nations where there's remnants of our people suffering and being persecuted, and you're wondering when is the Most High gonna come. It's because he has to allow things to come on his timing. But we have to have faith in the Most High, and we have to know and understand that essentially he will judge this nation, he will judge this empire, he will judge the wicked, and he will consume and destroy them. Because as I said earlier, Maduro probably was a bad president, but at the end of the day, America is no better. America is the same hypocritical country that does this all throughout time and try to act like their shit don't stink. That's the hypocrisy of it. And a true worshiper and follower of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi will worship him in truth and in sincerity and be willing to call out the wickedness, the double-tonguedness, the perversion, the lying of this country, so that way people don't fall into the same state, and they can also be patient and wait for the Most High to judge them as well. And this is what brothers should rest on. Verse 26, it says, but the judgment shall sit, and they shall take away his dominion to consume and to destroy it unto the end. And the kingdom and dominion and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High, whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and all dominions shall serve and obey him. So when Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi allows it, their dominion, their power to continue to consume and destroy these other countries, or to put them under his mold, it's going to be taken away. The beast is going to collapse, and those who will be of the elect will have the Most High's blessing, because all nations will be under the Most High's control. All nations shall bow to our King Yahawashi, and our kingdom will never be brought down. No other nation will be able to go against it. They will all serve and obey Israel. So Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. I know these things can be very frustrating. Sometimes it's frustrating for me to even watch it and see it, but we have to understand it's part of the Most High's will, and we have to be patient and long-suffering and constantly enduring to the end. So I give all praises to Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. Until next time, it's the brother Ash Abad signing out.